Hi, good morning everybody. This is Nicholas Teo from CMC Markets here in Singapore. Today, the 18th of August 2015. Anyway, markets just kicked off and we are finally seeing a little bit of a respite after the last 3-4 days of sell down, especially where local equity markets are concerned. Singapore Free Index is off the bat up about 0.5%, or about 1.95 points. This after suffering a subsequent pullback yesterday, which is on the back of I think a series of 3 or 4 days of a sell down. But anyway, early indication from the market highlights that some of the biggest losers for the last few days, namely some of your property companies and banks and Noble, for example, they are being featured down here as some of the top early gainers down here. The key thing is whether this is going to last, or this is going to probably be just a temporary respite to what we have seen precipitous selling over the last month or so. Take DBS Bank for example. You've got a first leg meltdown on here, you've got a second leg meltdown down here. This first leg has been caused largely by results that were actually quite good for DBS. But mind you, at this level, DBS is standing at close to a 14-year high. So this pullback was in line with some of the other banks, or sell down by other banks. Now this subsequent move down here, this huge move, we saw mainly led by the yuan devaluation yesterday, or rather last week. Now even at these sort of levels, DBS continues, like some of the other banks in the Singapore market per se, continues to be still quite vulnerable to a bigger sell down should things turn in a more drastic way. But essentially, the first sort of level for a consolidation would be close to this sort of level down here. Today, we are also seeing Keppel Corp, something that we've been talking about the last few weeks or so, hitting new lows, breaking below the 730 level to test right now 725, 726. Now this is a chart that I drew, or rather these are a series of patterns that I've been drawing the last few weeks or so. After Keppel broke this very key $8 level, there was a fast move down. The China news didn't really help them at all, but also Keppel's being hit by a falling oil price. Oil is now currently trading at close to its 14-year low, whichever oil you look at, either the WTI or the Brent. But essentially, technically speaking, Keppel looks vulnerable now after this break below 730 to maybe test around the 690, 697, or rather call it the 690 to $7 level. Again, this if this is broken, we are going to see a firmer support only at the 650. This 650 down here represents the flip from this level down. Essentially, there are a whole string of news that has hit Keppel from the standpoint. At first, you got a declining oil price, which ultimately does not help their clients, which are the rig builders, or rather the rig owners who traditionally were Keppel's customers. They've actually fled because they've got a huge load of inventory, because rigs that they have bought or purchased in the past are failing to find rental demand for those rigs in view of a depressed price of oil that we see down here. Just to pull up the price of maybe WTI, cash price, you're seeing oil again also hitting a new low, and this is after consolidating in March at around the 42 level, bouncing back up nicely, only to reverse very acutely to again test this sort of low levels. So that negative outlook has fed into stocks like Keppel, stocks like Ezion, stocks like Ezra on the local board, all of which of whom rely to a large degree on the oil services sort of businesses. Also worth a mention is the Singapore dollar. The last few days it has been in play because of the declining. This is the move that was dragged down originally by the yuan devaluation, or rather this move here dragged down by the yuan devaluation, and subsequently we saw the Malaysian ringgit hit a new 17-year low. Now last night we had a huge terrorist or sort of explosion in Thailand, and that's caused a significant strain on the Thai baht. Whether the Thai baht this time will be the driver in driving some of the Asian currencies down remains to be seen on this early trade. But clearly, I think things are generally stabilized in the morning, in the early morning trade. Anything can happen throughout the day. We've got the RBA announcing minutes later today, and more importantly, I think over the next 2 days we will be seeing the Fed minutes from the previous July meeting. That minutes are, I think, more closely watched minutes, purely because from that earnings or rather from that announcement, or that minutes announcement or release, we will probably get a better indication of what the Fed will be doing come September meeting. Meanwhile, a lot of the currencies, i.e. your euro dollar, including your euro dollar, including your Aussie dollar, they've all been hovering and consolidating at very tight levels, purely in anticipation of a bigger move from direction coming from some of these key policy changes. But for start, it's rather quiet. Thank you very much.